story mountain. There are 5 parts to a good story. First, we got the background. That tells us who the characters are, where they are, the location. Then we have rising action. This is where things start to happen in the story.
Later, choose to confront the bullies.
Good job. Chose to confront the bullies. Had to confront them. Helen, what do you think it means to confront somebody?
Alright guys, I know you saw the visuals of me living overseas, being an English teacher. I have a lot of experience teaching online and in the classroom. I've taught across multiple countries. And I know each path can look attractive, right? Like, should I teach online or in person in this country, or should I go to this other country? Each path can look extremely attractive, and that's why a lot of guys get stuck. So to answer the question about which countries are the best countries to teach English, I typically list off Asian countries. So hold on, I got a list right here. So we could say China, South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, just to give you guys a list of the possible Asian countries that I'd recommend teaching English. And in terms of choosing between teaching online or in person, or maybe doing a combination of both, some countries are better for one or the other. So for example, some countries offer a pretty high in-person teaching salary, and other countries, they can just act as low-cost countries that you can live in teaching online. A man who confuses which lane is right for which country might end up blaming the whole teaching industry, when in reality, their perception of what they should do was incorrect. And for you guys who might not be fully set on Asia, you also have some Latin American countries that you have the option of teaching in. So for example, we got Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, Chile, Ecuador, Guatemala, and even the Middle East can be open for some guys who have a certain level of education and who are open for a more adventurous experience. And Europe can also be appealing, but it might have more requirements, lower savings potential, and probably more competition depending on the country. So most guys are not trapped because they lack options. A lot of guys are trapped because they want one country to solve all their problems. Like, they want one country to solve all their dating problems, all their income problems. They want to be able to travel wherever. They want all that immediately as soon as they step foot overseas. So a lot of guys aren't trapped because they lack options. A lot of guys are trapped because they want to immediately move overseas and have everything fixed for them. So they want a country that gives them the perfect dating life. They make perfect income from their job. They're able to travel as much as they want. The weather is always beautiful. Their visa options, they have no issues at all. The fact is that a lot of that stuff you can get over time, but expecting to get all that immediately as soon as you get overseas, you're probably holding yourself back. The fact is that there is no one best country to teach English. It all depends on you, your situation, your goals, your personality, your work style, and basically it just depends on whatever season of life you happen to be in at that moment. So the best country isn't the one that looks the best on YouTube. It's the one that fits your life at that moment. So before you pick the country you go to, you got to pick the mission that you're trying to accomplish. Like, are you trying to save money? Are you trying to get out of America as fast as possible? Are you trying to have lower stress? Are you trying to multiply your dating options? Are you trying to travel more? Are you trying to build online income? Are you trying to pay down debt? The country you choose depends on the mission you have. Now, in terms of choosing where you want to be on the map, it depends on your background. So for example, you have a degree, do you have any debt? Do you need a visa sponsor? Do you need high savings potential? Do you need structure? Do you already have online income coming in? Like, a man might dream about living in Thailand, but in reality, they'd be better off starting in China first, where they can find probably a higher savings potential, housing support, and visa structure. Another man might dream about having a high salary in China, but in reality, they're so stressed out from life in America that they should probably take some time to relax in a low-cost country where they don't really need to work that much to survive, and they can still have a great lifestyle at a low cost of living. So a guy who's looking at in-person teaching jobs, he needs to study things like visas, contracts, credentials, and housings. Meanwhile, a guy who's looking at online income, he needs to look at internet quality, time zones, cost of living, visa flexibility, and his own personal discipline. Because some guys can't handle the freedom that they get, you know, when they don't have a structure, a job that they need to go to every day physically. Some guys do better with having a little structure and routine in their daily life. By the way, if you're stuck choosing between all these different countries and different parts of the world, you're not sure what kind of job suits you, and you're caught in a mix of salaries, lifestyle goals, visa options, you probably need somebody with experience to help guide you through this situation. So I offer a free 15-minute Get Overseas strategy call. You click the link in the pinned comment or description of this video. We can map out a plan for how you can get overseas living your perfect dream life. So click the link in the pinned comment or description, book your time, and yeah, man, let's talk about it. So in terms of marking off the different paths you might take, let's talk about path A. So path A I would call the stability and cash routes. This is for a man who needs structure, income, visa support, and a more serious professional setup. So maybe you're carrying down debt, you might need to save money, and you might not trust yourself to, if you got too much freedom overseas, you don't have a routine, you might get caught up in a crazy lifestyle. So this path is good for those guys who want a little bit of structure in their overseas life. So I'd recommend Asia, China, South Korea, Japan, and maybe Vietnam. These countries can be good for guys who want like formal school environments, clear teaching roles, and these countries have a more established teaching infrastructure. China can be really good for guys who have degrees, they want to have higher earning potential, got job benefits, housing support, and for guys who are looking to do teaching for a longer period of time. I lived this life for many years in China. I taught for 10 years at different universities across China. I had a lot of good benefits from my jobs, easy work schedule, health insurance, housing support, a travel stipend, and it gave me enough stability to build the next phase of my life. And we got countries like South Korea and Japan. They can be good for men who want kind of more order, structure, a more formal teaching culture. Some guys prefer that. The trade-off is that the cost of living and the demands of the job might be more than other countries. And Vietnam can be a pretty strong middle ground because it has lower costs, an active teaching market, the cities have a lot of life in them, and they give more lifestyle flexibility than the more strict markets. So this path that we're talking about typically fits men who have a bachelor's degree, you got your documents in order, you're willing to teach in a more structured environment, and you have a desire for a stronger savings potential. Because if your life is financially unstable, the country that pays better might be better than the country that just looks good on YouTube. Now for path B, we're going to be talking about the freedom and lifestyle route. So this path is for men who value lower overhead, you want warm weather, social life, flexibility, probably do online teaching, you'll probably look to build some side hustles up, and you have the ability to design your own routine. So Thailand's a great option because it has lifestyle, health, dating, language. The internet here is pretty good, so you can teach online like I do. And it has a nice social energy. But I gotta tell you, man, that Thailand will punish you if you're lazy because the lifestyle here is so chill that a lot of guys get lazy and they just let themselves drift off and never accomplish anything with their lives. Then we got Vietnam and Cambodia. So like I mentioned earlier, Vietnam has like lower costs, more teaching options, an active work environment. And Cambodia can be a really amazing first country to help guys get overseas who they might lack the traditional requirements that other countries have for teaching jobs. And for countries like the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, they can be good for lifestyle, online teaching basis. Like you can be based in that country teaching online. It all depends on your income path, your visa route you want to take, your internet needs, your dating goals, and your discipline. So this path here probably fits guys who have like a higher savings runway, like they can live off the money they came overseas with for a while they're getting established overseas. Typically you need like a higher risk income and the desire to build other side hustles. And you need the discipline to work without requiring a school to control your every move. But one of the big problems, guys, that I really need to emphasize is that a lot of guys can't handle having that kind of freedom where you just go overseas and you make your own schedule. It's really easy for guys, especially younger guys who maybe don't have that much discipline. They go overseas and go broke, and then they got to go back home because they spent all their money on women and partying, and they never really built anything. So freedom isn't automatically better. Freedom rewards the disciplined man, and it destroys the man who needs pressure to function. And for path C, we got the online teaching based route. So for this path right here, it's not necessarily the most flashy country. It's a country where the cost of living is low, the internet is good, and his daily life supports his focus. So yeah, we still got options for Asia like we mentioned earlier. The appeal will be like the lower cost overhead, warmer weather, social life, and the ability to build the next income stream. The main issue is the time zone difference. So depending on where you're at, you might want to adjust what times of day you're going to be teaching. Because depending on where your students are located in the world, that can affect how you need to set things up. While Asia offers a lot of variety, Latin America can be good for guys who want to stay closer to the US time zone. They want to be able to bounce back and forth between the US and whatever country they're living in pretty easily. And for guys who just want to learn to speak Spanish, so you're probably going to need to learn Spanish in those countries. And keep in mind that just because the country is cheap, that doesn't mean that it's good for you if the internet there is unstable, if their visa plan is messy, if the schedule destroys your sleep, or the country makes you undisciplined. Because for online teaching, the country, it's not just your backdrop, like it's not just your background, it's going to be how you operate. It really affects a lot of things related to online teaching. So honestly, the best path that you choose, it depends on you, your profile as a person, your personality, your discipline, your hustle. Like, are you a person who's really excited about being entrepreneurial and building up other side hustle income streams? Don't just go to places where you think the opportunity might be the biggest. Go to places where you're actually going to sit down and execute and get things done. Don't just choose a country because you think it looks fun. So yeah, guys, just to summarize, there's no one universal best country. Like for me, I live in South Korea, China, now in Thailand. I can't tell you what country's the best to teach in, because I've had an amazing time in pretty much all the countries I've been to, and I've taught in a lot of different countries. It really just depends on you and the season that you're at in life and the plans that you have going forward. And if you want to help crafting that plan, I suggest you sign up for the free 15-minute call. And by the way, I have a weekly newsletter called the 3-Minute Madness newsletter. It gives you short strategic advice for how you can build your overseas lifestyle, how you can avoid the mistakes that trap a lot of guys and get guys stuck in the life they don't want to have. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I put in the link in the pinned comment in the description of this video. Click the link, put your email. Yeah, you'll start getting weekly information sent to your inbox, and next thing you know, you can be overseas living the dream life you always wanted. So all right, guys, hope you got a lot of value from this video. And remember, the wrong country can break your plan. The right country can build your life. Pick the one that lets you win. And I'll see you in the next video.